Rose Holiday. Took 380 in sell side with that drop down there. And coming back to the June 4th and 5th point of controls. Not quite back to the Monday low. Essentially going all the way back from whence we came for the week. As if nothing ever occurred at all. Let's go ahead and refresh this. And then go in here. Hey, what's up, everyone? My voice is kind of screwed from the cold my son gave. Oh yeah, smooth jazz. Smooth jazz coming at you on 77.8. Well, it did fall out of the range after all. I wasn't expecting anything, so I didn't trade. I was like, I'm like these oddball type situations, like the contract rollover day, and then today wasn't really expecting. It held this entire range the whole day, and it was just kind of going back and forth. Did look bearish, but I was like, what was that? 21,725. That would be the Monday low. That makes sense. Yeah, the contract rollover gap. Yep. Or at least half of the gap. Yeah. Yeah, like if it's the it considers if it sweeps the gap and comes back, or if a larger time frame candle closes above the 50% of the gap, then that's generally how those gap theories work. I say generally because they have like inverse fair value gap, where if it closes below that, then short it kind of thing. So they have if then for those things as well. Yeah, I mean, you have some resting orders at 59.85 for ES that have yet to get swept that are still. Oh, speak of the devil, it started to burp down to grab it, but yeah, that was there's like a I don't know 150 contracts sitting there from when we started to break 6,000. So. Yeah, that's a solid line in the sand too. But it had a nice little reaction off that zone, like somebody's defending that or closing a position at that level, closing out a short or something. We did sweep 378 in sell side there, so yeah. So going and grabbing some of the buyers of the late shorters to cause them to close or auto close or trailing profit close, like yeah, the jitters to before you continue is theoretically a thing. I'm not really pressed to trade today, though. I'm feeling under the weather, which makes me perceptually behind events. So I'm going to be very. I need to see something that's undeniable. And I may not be trading that long because I need to sleep probably, get my stamina back. I'm impressed that it broke down on the early close day. I wouldn't have been surprised if it just stayed in the range and just did nothing but destroy people that tried to trade it. It is like maybe 2 or 3 hours after the open it will close. I'm not super familiar with the time difference, but I think it's like noon Eastern Standard Time or something. Oh my goodness. I'm still waiting for approval of a payout from Apex, so hoping they get that underway as sooner than later. I don't need it, but I can't trade it until they either say one or the other. Just give me an answer. That's all I need. So yeah, it looks like it's gonna sweep this resting order at 59.80 down to 82-ish. There's the and Q just has smaller orders on the way. $20. Yeah, I don't sound super hot. That's for sure. Although some chicks like deep voice like that. I was still able to do my workout, so I was pleased with myself there. So I wasn't, but it didn't feel like as easy. It wasn't as easy as I thought. So we hit a bunch of sell side with that pop down, and then we here. Oops. And then we kind of popped up, and then as we came down again, we had some more interest, this time from sellers, not liquidated longs. And then it came back down and then came back on these sellers. So are these sellers that entered in this region going to get punished with a little pop here to at least bearishly retest this volume imbalance slash value area low? I don't know. That would be in regards to time-based charts. I use all sorts of stuff, so yeah, ticks is not time-based, so it's not constrained by time. A tick is a trade, so 2000 tick means 2000 trades. It will create a new candle every 2000 trades regardless of time. So in terms of time frame on TradingView, I go anywhere from like 10 minutes to the hourly to back down to the 30-second, depending on like if I'm looking for zones of interest or where we've closed out. And then I have a thing that's on the right of my screen on TradingView that shows me where the hour is always, so I can kind of see where the hour open, high, low, close is, so I can see where we are in comparison to that. But yeah, and then on my screen up above, I have Renko, which is more for trade management because it's these clean blocks that I can trail and see where it it's trending, because it's Renko is also not constrained by time, and then it doesn't bother making a block until you go below the previous block. So it will only it shows you where highs and lows are easily too, so I can kind of take profits that way. So I have multiple facets I'm looking at in different contexts, from like Renko to the ticks to each tick, 2000 tick thing I look at as a auction. So it's like you're seeing each auction end every 2000 trades, and then where do the people within that auction stand? And that's what auction theory is about. Is it's talking about, they're offering it at a certain price, and a bunch of aggressive sellers entered, and then now it's coming above those sellers, so their kind of like offer is being denied as a valuable offer, so that's starting to pull back on them. And that's what I mean by punishment and stuff. So in terms of monitoring it in the moment, I use the ticks for that purpose, for volume monitoring. And then in this book map, it's just a 5-minute. It's I know it says ESU 5. I don't know what the 5 actually means, because I can kind of like change my perspective of time by zooming in and out. So I don't really even know what it's not really like a minute thing. I don't know what you would call the book map. Yeah, but I make sure that they're like lined up the same way, where it's like my my times are saying the same thing on both. So I'm zoomed in at a certain level on both of them, so that I can have my 9 o'clock here and then 9 o'clock on there. So, or whatever, like, where was that? Here. So that I can kind of juxtapose them in the same frame, if you will. So when I do zoom, if I zoom in, if it gets too noisy, I'll zoom in, and then I'll make sure my NQ and the ES are lined up with the time, so that it automatically shows me
differences between the two. Like ES didn't go down as much as NQ did, for example. And I use ES to telegraph where NQ might go based on where the resting orders on ES are, because has more resting orders than NQ. NQ is kind of like in the moment, it does what it's going to do, but there's very few people who like stay in it for a long time, so you don't really see huge pools of liquidity to aim at. So I use ES as the putting my finger into the wind to see where the wind is blowing, if you will. Yeah, it's definitely the last piece of the puzzle. Um, you know, like what's going on inside of the candle. Like I wouldn't recommend somebody that's new to just dive right that to that level of granularity, necessarily. It is but if you can understand the concepts of like, you know, if a long enters and then it goes down and hits their stop loss and then that becomes a sell, and you understand like, the market dynamics of like it's going to take out people. It's like a aggressive thing that's like a shark feeding on liquidity. Like if there's certain tiers of like, yeah, there's like certain tiers of understanding of the dynamics of like accumulation, manipulation, distribution, like those whole things you have to reach in how the theories of the market work before like, an aggressive buyer and an aggressive seller makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like knowing to walk before you can run, kind of thing, I guess. So that's where it took me after years and years and years of just wanting to know more. Would you like to know more? I had one about how the outs it's called Outsmart the Markets, if you find it on there, that breaks down in 10 minutes basically what I'm looking at for the footprints. Yo, what's up? 9 minutes. What's up, Tio? Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, Tio. I was saying that's like I didn't even expect it would break down here. I'm just like, that's amazing that it actually moved. Yeah, the 10-minute one I made like a year ago, well, I put a lot of effort into that one because it has a lot of visuals and stuff. And I traced every candle in Illustrator to make it super high definition because I'm a maniac like that. And yeah, I don't think I can make it any clearer than that video. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. You could shoot me a DM because the toss has some pretty funny one about like pairs. That's pretty easy to understand. I'll just put it in the chat actually. Hold up. I sent it to someone recently. Here we go. The one from a toss is hilarious because they use these. Oh, the Momentum Master thing, that was a thing I made a long time ago that shows multiple time frames, and it was pretty deadly accurate on Bitcoin. And then when I expanded to other assets, I found that it worked for that too. And I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, there's the Atos beginner's guide. It's pretty good. I give that one 2 thumbs up. It came out about the same time I made mine. Do I recommend it for NQ? Well, I have like here. I'll just show you. It's better explained. Like I made this. I was really big into like multiple time frames. So this is like a multiple time frame RSI money flow and Williams and other stuff like WADA, like between sub 1 minute. So it's like 5 time frames below the 1 minute. So if you're like scalping, it'll show you like it showed this divergence before we started to pop up here at the volume point of control. I wasn't looking at it because reasons, but if you had caught the reasons, it would have also shown you the bearish divergence before we dropped down. And so, yeah, after I started getting into NQ, I started making things for like scalping it. And was the pretty nice, what do you call it? Like, oops, this should go back up top. Move to existing panel. And then move this to the front. Okay. But yeah, like this one has like multiple time frames, like from the 1 second to the 5 to 10, 15 to 30, and it averages it. So you have all this information consolidated into one line. So it'll show you all those like bullish and bearish divergences in advance, and when momentum starts to fatigue and all that stuff. That's kind of how I came across TO, because he was like, I had this like cloud system and whatnot, and then he had a similar cloud, and I was like, whoa, what's this nebula thing? Somebody on to the same frequency as me? Huh? But it was kind of like I got into Ichimoku for a little while, and then I started making this volume weighted cloud, and then it starts to like kiss the cloud and then bounce off the cloud, and I was like noticing these, like it goes back to the cloud and it goes up, and then it bearishly retests the cloud and it goes down. It's like, and it was just this thing about the cloud kiss and bearish cloud kiss. You could just, yeah, go off of that theory and the cloud shifting directions, insinuating, you know, a shift in the trend or whatever. The main thing with anything is like it doesn't matter. Like Tio made a video I saw not too long ago. I don't know. I think he had it on his unlist. It was unlisted, but it was the thing that it doesn't matter what system you use. Really, it's it's the way you have a risk management. Yeah. No, it's just the risk management and the psychology. It's this. It's the inverse pyramid that I have on the screen right now. He had to rip it up in his face. Exactly. R26. Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, we got that one up at what is it, 790-ish, 792. What would that be? Where is that? It's like the candle before we popped up and dropped down. We're open. Open. There is no spoon. I have the spoon thing. Watch this. You'll like this one. It. You see that TO with Keanu Reeves in the money? Is he gonna do Constantine too? Yeah, I have to be convinced too. But even then, I'm still skeptical. Yeah, you're like Hulk, wasn't it? Hulk. Scooping up. Hey, what's up? Dip, dip, dip. Oh man, thanks. Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yo. We're back at Monday's like low, and now we're dipping into the gap, it looks like. Yes, now sweeping those resting orders at 5987-ish. I'm still not convinced of anything just yet. We'll see. Yeah, we started to eat into the gap of the rollover area. You're getting about, you had 85 contracts of buyers enter at 72875. They might absorb these guys and use it as slingshot to the downside. I don't know. I was looking at something else when they entered, so I missed being nearby it, so I'm gonna wait a bit. Spleened. Boom. They just absorbed that buyer and dropped a huge amount off him. 166 buyer entered at 70875. Nice. Nice.
Nice. Booyah. Donuts.
Where are we coming off of right now? So we went and filled the entire gap. Getting a little bit of divergence on the money flow here for bullishness.
got all that ESG money. Yeah, we're getting kind of a support at these volume points of control across. Looks like we might push up a bit.